This conference will now be recorded.
I'm calling the regular council meeting of Monday, October 21st to order. Anna?
Mayor Johnson,
Here.
Councilmember Kane,
Here.
Councilmember Mitchell,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Nowak,
Here.
and Councilmember Wolchek.
Here.
Please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the agenda as printed.
I move we approve the agenda. Second.
Mayor Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember Kane,
Aye.
Councilmember Mitchell,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Nowak,
Aye.
and Councilmember Wolchek.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Are there any modifications to the agenda this evening? Approval of the minutes of regular session and special session of October 3rd. Any corrections? So they'll stand as printed. Down to public comment. Citizens appearing before council on agenda and non-agenda items shall be allowed a maximum of 5 minutes each to address their concerns. This is the only time during a council meeting that citizens are allowed to address the council. Please come to the podium and state your name and address. Online comments will be accepted after in-person comments are completed. All comments should be directed to the council and not to the audience. Anybody? Okay. Steve, anybody else? Okay, we have no public hearings, so we are down to the consent agenda. Bills to be allowed, bills to be allowed in the amount of $1,364,970.95 and authorize Mayor Johnson and Clerk Soik to sign the warrant. B, mayoral reappointment of Clayton, VanWagoner, and Ashley Wilmot-Peterson to the Planning Commission for a 3-year term to expire on November 1st, 2027.
I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Any discussion?
Who's the second?
I'm not sure who got it. I think it was a tie, as close as a tie can get.
I'll give it to Councilmember Kane.
Okay.
Any discussion? Anna?
Councilmember Kane,
Aye.
Councilmember Mitchell,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Nowak,
Aye.
Councilmember Wolchek,
Aye.
and Mayor Johnson.
Aye.
Motion carried.
We have no presentations. We're down to announcements. The deadline to file as a write-in for the mayor and council member seats is Friday, October 25th, 2024 at 4 p.m. And that's in the clerk's office. B, absentee ballots are available in the clerk's office Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Saturday, November 2nd, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. C, early voting will take place Saturday, October 26th. Through and including Sunday, November 3rd, from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. at the Charter Township of Alpena. That's at their hall on 23. D, the absentee voter counting board will be performing early tabulation of absentee ballots on Friday, November 1st, and Saturday, November 2nd, from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. in council chambers at City Hall. E, Halloween trick-or-treat hours in the city of Alpena will be from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. on Thursday, October 31st, 2024.
I have just a quick comment on Halloween. I've just been approached that from teachers and parents' perspectives, they're wondering if we could appoint not a date, but a day of the month of the week for Halloween so that children don't have school the next day. Anybody who's ever taught or anybody who has a parent knows that it's really hard the day after Halloween. So in this case, I believe they're having, I want to say it's a student or an instructor preparation day of some sort. So the next day, the kids go back to school.
Well, for this year, it's set.
For this year, it's set, exactly, but maybe something to ponder.
Okay, we can have a discussion about it. We're to 10 mayoral proclamation, and I have one for lung cancer awareness month. Have to bear with me, this is long. Whereas lung cancer is the leading cause of cancer deaths among men and women in the United States and Michigan, accounting for more deaths than colon cancer, breast cancer, and prostate cancer combined. Whereas according to the Centers for Disease Control, there were 40,061 new lung cancer cases between 2017 and 2021, and 5,082 deaths due to lung cancer between 2018 and 2022 in Michigan. Whereas the 5-year survival rate for localized lung cancer is 60%, yet only 24% of lung cancers are diagnosed at this stage. Whereas screening for lung cancer for high-risk individuals using low-dose computed tomography can lead to early detection of lung cancer and save lives, reducing the mortality rate by 20% when compared to screening by chest x-rays in the National Lung Screening Trial, and reducing the risk of death by 10 years by 24% in men and 33% in women, as demonstrated by another large randomized trial. Whereas funding for lung cancer research trails far behind funding for research of many other cancers, and additional research is needed in early diagnosis, screening, and treatments for lung cancer, as well as in lung cancer affecting women and lung cancer health disparities. Whereas lung cancer incidence is decreasing twice as fast in men as it is in women, each year more women die from lung cancer than breast cancer, and by 2035 more women will die from lung cancer than men. Whereas African Americans have the highest lung cancer incidence and mortality rate of all races and disparities in lung cancer. Screening, diagnosis, treatment, and mortality are well characterized among African Americans and other racial minorities. Whereas lung cancer in individuals who never smoked is the 7th leading cause of cancer-related deaths and account for 17,000 to 26,000 deaths in the U.S. every year. 60 to 70% of individuals diagnosed with lung cancer who never smoked are women, and the proportion of lung cancers diagnosed in people who never smoked is increasing in the U.S., whereas radon is the leading cause of lung cancer among individuals who have never smoked and the 2nd leading cause of lung cancer overall. Whereas the stigma surrounding lung cancer creates barriers to early diagnosis, treatment, and funding for research has a detrimental impact on the quality of life in people diagnosed with lung cancer and hinders awareness of and research into lung cancer risk factors other than smoking. Whereas lung cancer research is leading to breakthroughs in the identification of genetic alterations associated with lung cancer and in the development of lung cancer treatments, including immunotherapies and targeted therapies. Whereas organizations working in Alpena, Michigan, such as the American Lung Cancer Screening Initiative and the Women's Lung Cancer Forum, are committed to educating about lung cancer and lung cancer screening and working to increase lung cancer screening rates in Alpena, Michigan. Now, therefore, I, Cindy Johnson, by the virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Alpena, do hereby proclaim November 24th as Lung Cancer Awareness Month in Michigan and recognize the need for research in lung cancer affecting women and lung cancer health disparity, and encourage all citizens to learn about lung cancer and early detection through lung cancer screening. And I know there's nobody here to accept this tonight. They just want it sent. Okay. So we have report of officers, and we have Rachel Smolinski to create a corridor.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, so the city of Alpena has entered into a purchase agreement with the Gardens of Alpena to acquire city property on US 23 North for the development of a senior living center that includes independent living units and assisted living and memory care units. The estimated investment is over $47 million. Because of significant increases in construction costs, the project is not economically viable and cannot proceed without economic development incentives to reduce costs. After review of various incentive programs, the establishment and operation of a corridor improvement authority is being proposed to support the project. The Corridor Improvement Authority could operate much like a DDA, where a district is established and a portion of future increased increment taxes generated by private investment is captured for reimbursement of eligible expenses. The initial step in the process is for the City Council to consider a resolution of intent, which is attached, to create and provide for the operation of a Corridor Improvement Authority and propose a development area for the Corridor Improvement District. The resolution of intent and proposed, oh, I already said that. Properties can be removed but not added to the attached map for the final development area that will ultimately be considered for the future corridor improvement authority. The current proposal is for the authority to capture 85% of the future local taxes generated solely from the Gardens of Alpena for reimbursement to help write down the cost of construction. The balance of 15% of local taxes would go to the city, county, community college, and library. The state education tax, school operating tax, school debt, and ESD taxes are not subject to this capture. This is the first step in the process. Notices will be provided to taxing jurisdictions. The council will hold a public hearing not less than 20 days after the notice, and the council will consider the final resolution to establish the authority and the development area not less than 60 days after the public hearing. Then the council will appoint the Corridor Improvement Authority Board that will consider a development plan and tax increment financing plan that details the project and financial arrangements. The council will then approve the development plan and the TIF plan. So as I noted, I have resolution 2024-10 for your consideration. There's also a map of the district boundary. And I just wanted to note that this boundary does not include any private property except for what will be purchased on our current US 23 North property. So we are not, there are no taxes generated within this district currently.
Just one question, because in what you just read, no properties can be added.
Correct, correct.
And at no time can a property be added.
No, and not unless you go through the entire process again. It's much like the DDA where we got some initial feedback and then took some properties out. So that could also happen here. But the regulation, the law is very specific about who can be on this board. So we need a number of entities that can serve on this board, like ACC, and we need a resident. There will be someone from the city. So when we get to that point, we'll form the board and have a representative from the city on there.
And is there a legal number of how many people have to be on the board?
I believe it was 5 plus a resident. Montiel, does that sound correct?
Yes, I think there was a range. So you could have a range, but yes, it was a minimum of 3 property owners.
Yep.
And then we could fill in the rest.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. That's all I had.
I have one question for
Sorry, go ahead.
It's a lot like the DDA and just reading through, and I see that we'll have a board. Will we have anything like a full-time employee who oversees what happens?
Not at this point. It's not necessary.
That was all I had. Thanks for
Good question. Thank you.
Who is sending out the notices?
That will be Mac McClellan, our consultant. So you will not be responsible for that. And this is via the contract that we approved at a previous council meeting.
This board is consisting of volunteers then, I imagine. They're not
It would-
paid or have a per diem, right?
No. You are correct, Emmett.
Okay.
No pay. Yes. Okay.
No other questions for me.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I moved that we adopt the City of Alpena Resolution of Intent 2024-10 to establish a corridor improvement authority. Board, Rachel, should I add board to that?
Just authority.
Okay, comma, propose a development area for selected parcels at US 23 North, establish a public hearing for November 18th, 2024, and authorize notices to the taxing jurisdictions.
Is November 18th one of our council meetings?
It is. I know, I just checked too. Just to confirm.
No discussion?
No, ma'am.
Okay, Anna.
Councilmember Mitchell,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Noah,
Aye.
Councilmember Wolchek,
Aye.
Mayor Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember Kane.
Rachel is staying with us for.
Yes, for a couple more. All right. Okay, so in April of this year, City Council approved an extension of Veolia's contract to complete the random inventory of lead and galvanized services. This contract extension expires at the end of October. As many of you know, the original contract with WW Operations Services in the 1980s has been amended many times over the last almost 40 years for each extension and has become a cumbersome document for review and reference. Veolia corporate staff was of the same opinion and offered to rewrite the entire contract into a brand new document as part of the contract extension proposal. Staff has reviewed the new contract for clarity, substance, and requirements and found it to be complete and concise. The initial portion of the contract will extend from November 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025, and then into a new 8-year contract. So the overall proposed cost for the services provided by Veolia is $2,256,887. This includes the yearly maintenance and repair limit, currently $325,000, and the gradually diminishing lead inventory payment over 8 years. The base service fee is increasing for a variety of reasons and is outlined in the attached memo from James J. Hanna, Veolia North America Regional Vice President. I think I got that right. And he's also here to answer any questions if needed, as well as Mike Collins from our plant. And below I have a recommended motion for your consideration.
Does anyone have questions?
Hello.
Hey, Mike.
Okay, so first of all, gentlemen, thank you for being here. I do appreciate it. I think one of the things that, always concerns me is anytime we're doing an extension, multiple extensions, and we have contracts like this, it gets to be a little concerning with all the amendments and stuff. So I really do appreciate the fact that we're looking at that or have updated that. I've also, I don't have a problem with the increases just because of what we've all been seeing over the years as far as that. The only concern that I have moving forward, and I could probably recommend this to a future council, is, or we can take a look at it depending on where council wants to be, is I don't care for single bids. I've got that reputation. I'm fine with it. Okay. I have a rough time voting when I don't know exactly what I'm comparing it to. I don't have, anything that's showing me what the other municipalities are paying. I don't have anything that's showing me, are we, if we were doing this ourselves, this is where we would be, this is what it's saving us. I went back and looked through some of the old and looked at the comparisons from when we first started on our very first contract, and the savings was substantial. But as we move forward, I would entertain that council and the mayor should probably, at least look into this a little bit more or refer this back and, have something more for us to compare for.
Right.
And this is nothing against, your company. I think it does great. The other thing that I would say that is very positive is the service that our community has received from your company, which has been fantastic. I've had things happen within my own neighborhood, and, the response has been fantastic. And I think the services you provide are right on point. So I appreciate everything that you're doing. So it's just a concern that I have going forward. I thought that the increases were all within line from everything else that I know about, from manufacturing or any other, increases we're seeing. But I thought that was something to at least bring forth to council and, gather your thoughts, so those are mine.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Any other discussion?
I have one. This is more for Steve Schultz. Steve, does this address the upgrade with the BSNA system? Because we're gonna have to purchase the utility billing. And
That's internal to us.
okay,
That's not part of this.
I thought we were paying for the billing through Alpena Powers.
Yes and no. I mean, we still paid them to bill, and that's part of the contract. We just have to figure out a different way.
Yeah.
Through Alpena Power.
Yep.
So I'll entertain a motion.
I move we approve the Veolia contract extension through June 30th, 2032 as presented and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign.
Mayor Pro Tem Noah,
Aye.
Councilmember Wolchek,
Aye.
Mayor Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember Kane,
Aye.
and Councilmember Mitchell.
Aye.
And we're up to C, request for allocation to Northeast Michigan Materials Management Authority for Equipment and Electronics Day.
So I won't read the whole letter, but I received this request through Northeast Michigan Materials Management Authority, which operates the recycling program throughout the county. I do serve as the treasurer, and I was appointed by city council to represent the city on that board. So I am bringing this forward to you. I believe that we budgeted 5,000 previously, so this is a little bit more than that. We were able to get some really good records on what the event actually costs us. And that was about, we anticipate that it's going to cost us about $43,000. And so looking at past contributions, we thought, this 7,500 would be in line with what we need for this 2025 upcoming event. And just to note, we do have a household surcharge that is $25 per household per year. However, that funding is not utilized for these events, these special events. So the name of board fundraises above or for all of these events. And this year, also, we are planning on combining the event with the electronics event just because it's much easier to coordinate and to get volunteers to that event. I'm looking at Carol because she was out there throwing stuff around last time, doing a great job, and Mike and several city staff, and of course Cindy. So anyway, those will be combined. It will be May 3rd, and we're also extending the time frame, so it'll run from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. just so we can accommodate combining it to one event.
Anyone have questions?
I do. Hello. Yes, I guess my first question is the other municipalities that we have on here, the county and the township of Alpena, you're putting in a request for $7,500 for them. Do we know if they are able to, contribute, or have they approved the funding for this?
We would be the first that I am aware to approve it, but I did see that it's on the upcoming agenda for, I think, the county, at least. I haven't checked the township. And then we do get contributions from the other townships as well. I just don't know what they'll be able to commit to, so I can't fully answer that question.
Okay.
But they've been asked.
Okay, and then if, from my understanding, this event could not happen without, all of us providing that, funding. If the other two entities do not come forward with their dollars, is the city's returned or is it canceled? What happens?
We would try and raise funds probably with local businesses or, other entities. But if we don't get to the amount that we think we need for the event, we will cancel it because we just simply can't afford within our current budget to do that. And we don't want to utilize those funds used to operate the recycling program. We don't want to take away from that.
And I know this is a tough question to answer. How many volunteers did we have last year? And is there an ideal number that for to do this? Because I'm starting my recruiting now. My friends are aware. So we're challenging each other to throw tires. So it's a thing.
There you go. Yeah. I would think at a minimum, so we do have some staff there, and then, the electronics recycling vendor brings some staff with them. I would say 20 would be ideal, but the more that we have, the quicker we can move people through that line. And last year we didn't set a limit on tires. So because we partner with Wholesome, and, they can use those tires in their manufacturing process. So we don't know how much is going to come through, but with a combined event, we may get a lot more people with, obviously with their electronics coming through, because sometimes we have to turn people away if we're not taking electronics that day, and then, maybe they wouldn't come back. So I think 20 is ideal, but, if we had 25, that would be fine too, or 30.
Oops, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
And we always get a tire grant too. So I think it's $7,500
Right.
left for this.
But we
I
did.
would also, you mentioned a great list of volunteers. I'd like to mention your son.
Oh, yes.
A lot of tires and.
Yes.
Pleased to meet him.
It took me 3 or 4 cycles to get all the grime out of that light gray t-shirt that he wore. Yeah.
It was dirt from here to here, so, but he didn't back away from anything. So it was great working with him. So, but that's all the questions I have on that. So.
Are you ready for a motion, Mayor Johnson? I move that we approve the request for funding for the combined cleanup and electronics day event in the amount of $7,500 for May 3rd, 2025.
Second.
Councilmember Walchuk,
Aye.
Mayor Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember Kane, Councilmember Mitchell,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Noah.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
We have first quarter of fiscal year 2025 financial report. Anna?
Thank you, Mayor. Full disclosure, this presentation is probably gonna be worse than it normally is because I didn't have any time to practice it. Today was very much a Monday. Okay, so this report is at September 30th, 2024, which should be at 25% of fiscal year 25. So on the green part, we have the original budget column, and this is what was originally budgeted in the budget that you passed back in June. And we had passed that revenue was going to be under expenditures by $657,133. That has since been increased to being negative $1,070,386, and that is because we've had numerous carryover requests, budget amendments. We had the BSNA upgrade project. We have the county ambulance that was supposed to be in fiscal year 24, but got moved to 25. We had the MAC consulting for the gardens project. Some of the carryover funds were for the Carter Street parking lot, the downtown wiring and energy efficiency, sidewalk replacement, turnout gear replacement. We had to increase expense for continuing professional education in the police department. And Ford Interceptors, the 2 of them that we got, that got moved to this fiscal year 25. So those were just some projects that had to be moved, just so you know what that is made of. So just to give you an idea, in my report at June 30th of 24, we had amended the budget to be $1,097,079 negative. But with all of the journal entries, and they're not done yet, but we are in really good shape. I promised you we were going to spend money. We're currently at $145,064 negative. That's it. So the fund balance is going to be a lot higher, but it's because of all these projects that we had budgeted for got moved to next fiscal year. So by not spending it in 24, now we have it for 25. Okay, so in the revenue section, the green part on the first page there, original budget was $13 million, and we amended it to $13.4 million. We've taken in $5.1 million so far for 37.91% of the budget. Some of these variances in the general government function were at 59% of the budget received, and within that is taxes, and we've collected 94% of the budget for the taxes. So that's why that's over the 25%. Moving down to public safety, we're at 7.1% of budget received, and that's because ambulance transport fees, the annual reversing entry that happens, it's actually, I think, negative right now. And we had budgeted for the $375,000 for the county ambulance, which has not been received. Public Works looks good. It's almost at 25%. Community and Economic Development is at 2%. We budgeted $500,000 for land bank blight elimination funds, which haven't been received. So that's the majority of the budget for that function. Recreation and Culture, we've received 0.86% because we budgeted $175,000 for volleyball courts, which was a grant, and $550,000 for a Culligan Plaza grant, neither of which have been received. And then transfers in, we're at 0%. The majority of that is coming from the DPW construction fund for the salt barn that we got approval for. I'm not sure of the status of that project, but we have not made that transfer yet. So in summary, we're at 37.91%, which exceeds the 25%. So we're in good shape with revenue. Moving down to the expenditures. The original budget was $13.6 million. We've amended that to $14.5 million. And so far we've spent $2.6 million, which is 18% of the budget. Some of those variances are the general government is only at 13%, and that's because we budgeted $1.24 million for the pension annual payment, and that won't be paid until December. Public safety is just under 22%, so that's good. Public Works is at 15%. We had, what I got going on here? We had budgeted $760,000 for capital projects, none of which are complete. Health and welfare is right on at 25%, and that's because we do a quarterly transfer, quarterly payment to the Huron Humane Society. Community and economic development is low at 9.75%. This is because we budgeted $500,000 for blight removal, and we've only expensed $3,600 so far. Recreation and culture is at 14%. Because we budgeted $950,000 for capital projects, none of which are expensed. And then our transfers out is high at 62%, and this is because of the payment for the DPW building bond, which is normally paid in this quarter. Any questions on that? Nope. All right, moving along to cash balances and investments. Major street fund is about $1 million more than a year ago, and this is because large projects were not completed or paid out. Marina is negative. I believe we used up all of the fund balance in fiscal year 24, so we're going to have to transfer some funds from the general fund for this. We did pay for some large capital projects, but this will be positive by year end with either a transfer from general fund or with sales. The Brownfield Redevelopment Authority is $5,000 more than a year ago. We actually moved it to an interest-bearing account in November of 23, and that's why it has more than what it normally does. So I would say that was a good move. The DDA has about $300,000 more than a year ago, and that's because we received payment from the county for the DDA. And we've received one payment, and we'll receive another one, I think, by the end of this calendar year. So it's in their fiscal year for the county. That was for the DDA expansion, and also they've received grants for the facade grants. Building inspection is at $29,000, which is 16 or 20,000 more than last year. And that's because we issued a permit for a large renovation project. Moving down to sewer, That's lower than a year ago by about 1.5 million. And that is due to Second Avenue and Fair Avenue projects that have been completed, right, Steve?
Yep.
Okay. The water fund is also lower by about 600,000, which is also due to completed projects and the clear wells, which are not completed, but that's part of the expense. Stores is negative. As you can see, it was a year ago as well, but we will correct that by year end. In the general fund, it is 900,000 more than a year ago, and that's because we received a $950,000 pass-through grant. We also redeemed numerous investments in anticipation of needing the cash for projects. Moving down to the American Rescue Plan Act, you can see that we no longer have anything in a CD or treasury bills. That's because investments matured and we redeemed them in anticipation of the Bayview bathroom project and City Hall windows. So they are sitting in our sweep account, still earning very good interest. Let's see, moving down to the equipment fund. It is about 900,000 more than a year ago, and we transferred funds from the general fund to save for the fire truck or fire apparatus. In the retirement fund, we're 300,000 more than a year ago. For comparison, the book value at June 30th was 23.57 million, so we're up $16,465. The market value increased from 29.2 million on June 30th to 30.1 million on September 30th. And the retiree health care, that's about 1.1 million, or no, not even 100,000. It's only 100,000 more than a year ago. The book value at June 30th was 2.21 million, which is an increase of $247,730, and that's because we made our annual payment in July. The market value increased from 2.62 million on June 30th to 2.97 million on September 30th. Any questions on the cash and investments? Okay, and then one more, I don't even know, slide is about the list of investments by fund. We have, for the general fund, the book value is 2.6 million. The market value of that is 2.5 million. In the DPW construction fund, we have a $100,000 bond, and its market value is $100,928. And then we've got the equipment fund, which has $1.5 million of book value, but $1.49 million of market value. So the change from last quarter was a decrease of $96,100. I think that was because we had investment that matured. And then the market value decreased by $36,620. I was trying to do like an estimate of where our fund balance is at, but I kind of ran out of time and I apologize for that. It's something that I want to do in my next report so that we can kind of have an idea of where we're at. We don't normally figure out fund balance until after the fiscal year ends, but I can probably get us pretty close, just so we know.
Does anyone have questions for Anna? Thank you, Anna. I'll entertain a motion to receive and file.
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? Okay.
Mayor Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember Kane,
Aye.
Councilmember Mitchell,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Nowak,
Aye.
Councilmember Wojcik,
Aye.
motion carried.
And now we have committee reports. So I'm going to start. Did your committee meet?
We did, but I didn't have a sitter, so I think it needs to go.
Okay.
both of mine fell through. But it's also the 15th, so I feel like I shouldn't even report that anyway. It's supposed to be undercover, which is what I made a comment about last month too. So.
Thank you. Dan?
Yes. Last month, or this month, actually, on the 11th of October, was a annual meeting of Northeast Michigan Council of Governments, and it was held at the Lewiston Resort. A lot of discussion was held concerning the revitalization and placemaking fund program we have. Of particular concern to our community was this information may be of significant importance to our city, to the DDA, and possibly to the Alpena County Land Bank Authority. The identity and read of the program's overview, program goals, and eligible applicants, which one of the things that I did happen to see was a potential large grant of up to $500,000 for facade, which we'll have to look into a little bit more in the situation. But that'd be a great way of taking care of a number of programs here in the city if it does work out. But that would be something that Anna from DDA would look into there a bit, as well as what the city might be able to utilize under these. This is grants issued under the MEDC for the state of Michigan and such. And it was of importance. I thought was very good to bring to your attention and to the city's attention this way. The other thing we have coming up is our meeting on Wednesday, October 30th with the Alpena County Land Bank. That meeting will be discussing the sale of the Bedford Street properties to the Habitat for Humanity. And I just talked to the lady that works with Leavesley Construction, and they had a slight surprise when it came to the cost of the performance bond. It was 10%, which was coming up about $2,100. And so they weren't quite expecting that, but it was taken care of, so it's not a problem. So yes, we have asked Ted Fines to be here so that we can go over this and hopefully get the ball rolling on the construction of the homes and in place by the first, well, sometime after the first of the year. So that'll be a good thing.
Okay. We talked about recycling tonight. Recycling continues to move forward. We're still working toward hopefully getting our building up by the end of 2025 and some holes. But I would like to say thank you to MML came today and did a live tape at the NOAA building. And we have Rachel, Anna from the DDA, Ann from the DDA, myself, and then Dan from NOAA who did a live event today. And then we went out and did some live tape that will be on the MML website. They were kind and gracious, and it was fantastic. We do have a plaque that will hang in City Hall because we are one of the founding members of MML. So they're going around to some of the founding members and doing these live tapings of what's going on in the community. So it was nice. It was nice. And we have an awful lot going on. So that being said, I thank them.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Just briefly, an update is that committees are going to be meeting in November of this quarterly for myself. So I have nothing new to report as of right now, other than to say the economy of Alpena is still doing pretty well in spite of what is happening nationally. We've got some new things that are happening in the community. It's nice to see. Not a lot I can talk about from all three of those committees, but I always like to say, hey, we're doing something. It's just a lot of confidential stuff that we can't talk about either. So other than that, Mrs. Mayor, I have nothing else.
Okay, thank you.
We have upcoming red, white, and blue review for our armed forces celebration. So something you might look to buy tickets for. I attended the Witches Night Out in downtown Alpena, which I have to say, I believe this was the first time they've done it. And it was a lot of women in pointy black hats, but festive and fun and really a good showing. Update on Little Red. We are awaiting our assessment, if you will, for an architectural plan. And we have plans for cleanup coming soon.
Thank you.
Carol, the red, white, and blue was fantastic.
Sorry.
Review. Sorry, wrong weekend.
That's right.
Sorry, I missed it.
Yeah, you didn't.
I was in New Mexico this
Oh,
year,
that's
so
right.
visiting family.
So
Sorry, so negate that whole red, white, and blue review.
up to new business, a fireworks display agreement. Deputy Fire Chief,
Everyone.
good evening.
All right. So fireworks display agreement. To ensure that we have the best possible fireworks show this year and to avoid last year's issues when our fireworks show provider canceled 2 weeks before July 4th. City staff have been working diligently to secure a company and a date for 2025 event. The Alpena Chamber of Commerce has been responsible for raising the $25,000 needed for the fireworks display over the past few years. The city of Alpena acts as the chamber's fiduciary for the event, signing the fireworks contract and paying the contractor. No direct city funds are used for the fireworks displays. However, city staff are utilized to support the event, including police, fire, and Department of Public Works. We reached out to 3 vendors and requested proposals. In comparing the proposals, we considered the proposed date, the length of the show, and whether they were willing to shoot the display from barges out in our bay. All 3 proposals were quite similar. However, after consulting with other city staff, we are recommending Small Town Saturday Night Fireworks, the same company that conducted the fireworks show at the Alpena County Fair in August. Chief Edmonds and I were present at this event and observed the show's safety procedures and noted that it proceeded without any concerns. Despite the show only being 12 to 15 minutes long, it was just as impressive, if not better, than our 20 to 25-minute display on July 3rd of 2024. I recommend, as Deputy Fire Chief, that the City Council approve the proposal from Small Town Saturday Night Fireworks to deliver a high-quality, safe, and visual spectacular display for the community on July 3rd, 2025. Their proposal also includes comprehensive safety measures and a contingency plan for inclement weather. On the next page, I have a recommended motion.
Deputy Chief. That has a nice ring to it.
Did you see that 3 proposals, sir?
I did.
3.
That was, I couldn't resist. Sorry, folks.
I have no questions. I think that, the one comment that I would make is that I know that sometimes we got pushback on dates of being July 3rd. I've also heard much more positives for July 3rd than I have against July 3rd. There is some pushback, but honestly, it's a way to kick off the day of celebration on the 4th of July, or the way to end it. And I think it's just fine kicking it off. I mean, everyone has the whole next day. You're not up late. There's not a lot of people having to go back to work. So I think it's actually a great move. And I'm glad that we're able to secure a company. There are a lot of communities out there that are not able to secure companies to have anything in the fireworks area as well. So.
And we did ask for the 4th being the number 1 choice, or the 3rd or the 5th, and not out of all 3, none of them gave us the 4th. Just to clarify.
I have no other questions, man.
So actually, my follow-up, because I was going to say the same thing Mike brought up, was it on July 3rd this year because you didn't get it?
No, we had a contract with the Wolverine Fireworks for the 4th, and they canceled 2 weeks before.
Okay, so the only person you can get to fill in the spot, the only day they could do it was the 3rd.
This last point, yes, exactly.
Well, I mean, it worked out better for me, and everyone that I was with, just like Mike said, I heard more people complimenting it than bashing it. So
Definitely a mixed bag.
So I'll entertain a motion.
okay,
I move that we approve the agreement with Small Town Saturday Night Fireworks for $25,000 for the July 3, 2025 community display, and authorize city manager Rachel Smolinski agreement.
I'll second.
Discussion? No?
Councilmember King.
Aye.
Councilmember Mitchell.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Noah. Councilmember Wolchek.
Aye.
And Mayor Johnson.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Andy. Next up, we have Steve Schultz, our IT coordinator for ClearGov platform recommendation.
All right. Over the last several years, staff have discussed the possibility of software that could help streamline the flow of the CIP process through budget creation and then the development of the printed budget. Currently, this involves individual databases, spreadsheets, hand entering and transferring and re-entering numbers, text documents, copying and pasting, and double checking. City Clerk Anna Soik had often discussed that she had heard of software that might help eliminate much of this unnecessary duplication of work. Through the course of several training opportunities and seminars, Anna became familiar with a few different suites of software that could do some, but not necessarily all of the tasks that we needed, and some weren't compatible with our existing financial software. However, ClearGov was a suite that was presented and recommended by others within the field. Anna requested a demo of the software, was impressed enough to invite other staff to an additional demonstration. Council has had the opportunity to independently view some presentations as well as some customer testimonials. I'm not going to go into all of the detail, but the software does indeed check all of the boxes and will streamline our CIP to budget process and develop a live interactive budget that the public will be able to view in real time, providing a transparency that we have not been able to offer before. This software was programmed in the CIP for fiscal year 25 for $50,000, but staff elected to cut it from the budget, but intended to put it back in the CIP for our next fiscal year. After some consideration, we feel that it would be most advantageous to move forward with the software now so we can introduce it as we begin our CIP process and let staff become more familiar with it and utilize it to its fullest extent when creating the budget. Further, the initial cost of the software, as well as the yearly cost, are almost half of what we had originally anticipated. I have attached the proposal which outlines the work and services as well as the costs associated. This year's setup and training fees, in addition to a prorated subscription to get us through June 30th of 2025, is $26,910. Future annual subscriptions after July 1, 2025 will be $29,835 with a 6% escalator. Based on the demo, staff review, and follow-up discussion internally and with ClearGov, I feel this suite will be an asset to streamline our budgeting process, improve our efficiency, and to allow us to expand our transparency. I have two recommended motions there, and as with most other software subscriptions, staff will budget and continue the subscription each subsequent year, unless there are major changes or a large cost increase.
Does anyone have any questions for Steve?
No.
On the service order, it shows what modules, I guess you call them, that we're looking at. So it includes operational budgeting and then personnel budgeting, which is going to be very useful for negotiations that are coming up with work groups. So you can run different scenarios, making that whole process a lot easier. It'll also help with the piece of the budget that is for payroll and benefits. I have big spreadsheets, but this would make it so much easier. Probably save a lot of time as well. The capital budgeting piece that Steve mentioned, and then also the digital budget book, which is essentially our budget, but putting it together in a new format. And I think it would also be interactive. This would be interactive on our website. Like if residents of the city wanted to go and check it out and look for certain things, or maybe run some sort of scenario, they could find those. So it's interactive, so.
Nice.
Sounds like it's going to improve efficiency within the office, but effectiveness with the citizens as well. So, I mean, I'm always in favor of any of that. And as far as the, questions always arise sometimes, like on any software, it's like, there is no such thing as buying software anymore, and then you have it forever. It's always going to be a service or,
And fortunately, though, they're a lot better now also at offering all those updates throughout the year. Sometimes it used to be where you'd pay the money and you'd wonder what you're getting. BSNA updates twice a month. These guys said that their updates are they do at least 6 to 8 updates a year based on, user evaluation and recommendations and things like that. So.
With like the CIP budgeting piece, we can attach pictures, and it just provides a lot more detailed information into that piece of it. So it is web-based. It works very well with BSNA, and we don't, even though we're still on the .NET version of BSNA, we can still go with this. And then once we upgrade, it should be pretty seamless.
Mhm.
And the CIP will be the same for this year, correct?
Right.
Just because we
Right.
won't have time because we've already started the CIP process, but for next year, we'll be ready to go with that portion as well.
If there are no questions, we have two motions. So we have to do,
Oh, I did also want to mention one more thing, is that they say that this is proprietary software. So there's no like comparable bidder, I guess, so we didn't have to go out for it. They have it on Whiteboard, I think it was called.
Yeah.
So we don't have to bid it out.
So there, Mike.
So she's, anyone else notice she was looking at me?
we're all looking.
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate that information, because I figured in the past, I've heard that and some other things like that as well. So I really appreciate you bringing that forward. So I move that we approve the budget amendment to add 27,000 from fund balance to the IT fund for fiscal year 25.
Second.
Any discussion?
Is that Councilmember Clayton, second? Councilmember Mitchell,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Noah,
Aye.
Councilmember Wolchek,
Aye.
Mayor Johnson, and Councilmember King.
Aye.
And I move with that we approve the 2-year agreement with ClearGov and authorize the city manager to sign.
Second.
Councilmember Wolchek on that?
Aye. Yeah, oh, yes. I'm ready.
We'll start with Mayor Pro Tem Noah,
Aye.
Councilmember Wolchek,
Aye.
Mayor Johnson.
Aye.
Councilmember King.
Aye.
And Councilmember Mitchell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Please, Steve, you're with us for the fire hydrant replacement program.
Right. On October 15th, 2024, the city received an open bids for the 2024 fire hydrant replacement project. Due to lack of time and manpower, the city elected to bid these repairs to a qualified contractor. This project will replace 15 fire hydrants within the city. Bids were sent to 6 firms as well as posted on the city's website, with 3 bids received, as seen below. These repairs are for hydrants that are in disrepair throughout the system. Expenses will come from the water fund to make these repairs. The city has worked successfully with Bedrock Contracting and Excavating in the past and is very satisfied with their work. And there's the recommended motion.
Does anyone have questions for Steve? Questions? We
No.
did ask Steve a question earlier because I asked how old the hydrants were, but so tell.
Oh, I mean, they vary. I mean, the hydrants get normally put in when the water main gets put in. So you're talking 40, 50 years on some of them, 60. And we continuously we can work on them and part them out and change parts in them, change a shaft, but for these ones in particular, there's no parts left anymore. You can't order parts for them. So now we have to replace the whole hydrant.
Thank goodness for 3 bids. 104 sounds so much better than 157.5. You can use that any other way, that savings.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So anyone want to make a motion?
I move we award the 2024 fire hydrant replacement project to Bedrock Contracting and Excavating of Alpena, Michigan for the base bid amount of $104,657,000.
I'll second.
Any discussion? No.
Councilmember Wolchek,
Aye.
Mayor Johnson.
Aye.
Councilmember King.
Aye.
Councilmember Mitchell,
Aye.
and Mayor Pro Tem Noah.
Proud eye.
And Steve, you're still with us for the water valve replacement project.
All right. Also on October 15th, 2024, the city received an open bids for the 2024 water valve replacement project. And also due to lack of time and manpower, the city elected to bid these repairs to a qualified contractor. Bids were sent to 5 firms and posted on the city's website with 3 bids received as follows there. Nobody's controlling my screen, so I can't These repairs are for several leaking valves found throughout the system. Expenses will come out of the water fund to make the repairs. And again, Bedrock was the low bidder and we're, satisfied with their work in the past. So that's okay.
I'm not doing anything.
Does anyone have questions of Steve?
Steve, the only question I have on this project and the last, do we have a timeline when this work shall be completed?
Well, usually this work is, it's ASAP and these guys want to get on it right away. I mean, I think typically these are, if we had to wait until spring, we would say springtime, but definitely before summer. These I think will get all done this fall yet.
No other questions?
You ready for a motion?
Mhm.
Move that we award the 2024 water valve replacement project, Bedrock Contracting and Excavating of Alpena, Michigan, for the base bid amount of $38,812.58.
I'll second again.
Any discussion? Anna?
Mayor Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember King,
Aye.
Councilmember Mitchell,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Miller,
Aye.
Councilmember Wolchek.
Aye.
To East Bayview Restroom and Pavilion Project.
On October 8th, 2024, the city received and opened bids for the Bayview Restroom and Pavilion project. Finally. This project is funded by an Michigan DNR Trust Fund grant as well as ARPA funds and will install a new restroom facility and small pavilion in the Bayview Park near the band shell. The intent is that this location will be an added convenience for events at the band shell as well as playground users without having to cross Prentice Street. I was looking and nothing seems to be out of, I thought maybe somebody had a phone or something next to those microphones, but I guess not. So bids were sent to 21 firms as well as posted on the city's website with one bid received. Meridian Contracting at 802-200. So after receiving only one bid, staff did reach out to everyone on the bid list inquiring about the reason they did not bid. Most of the responses indicated that contractors already have a full schedule for the 2025 construction season and did not have the staffing available to do another project of this size. For this reason, we believe it is not warranted to rebid the project and could in fact be detrimental to do so, as the potential exists for Meridian to possibly add additional work to fill their schedule as well. The city has successfully worked with Meridian in the past and is satisfied with their work. Additionally, Meridian was the prime contractor on both the Trailhead and Starlight restroom facilities, which closely mirror the architectural design of this project. As the DNR is assisting with funding this project, they need to approve our contractor. And I have an update on that. They actually already have. We gave them the same reasoning because they're of the same opinion on the one bid. They were asking if we felt we should rebid it. We told them that we did not feel that would be actually detrimental, we think, because we might lose the one contractor we have. So they did approve him. And so we have the following motion there. And if approved, Meridian will begin construction in spring of 2025. And so I think the award has, the motion has the pending approval by Michigan Department of Natural Resources. You can actually leave that out.
No, I'm sad.
Now
You're sad.
It's funny because I actually texted that to Rachel today. I said, Mike's not going to be happy about that big bid.
Yeah.
What I kind of compared this to is sometimes, if you look at what you're paying for past projects and stuff, even though this one is different and so on, and the work that they've done in the past gave me some kind of a comparable. So while I'm sad and while I do really enjoy the multiple bids, I think that from everything I understand, this is well within line. I'd like to at least have something to look back on and where it would be. I mean,
And it's about 100,000 under the original estimate. So
exactly.
So we have 700,000 of ARPA funding that we had already budgeted in fiscal year 24 for the Bayview restroom project. We are going to have to bring those, we'll have to bring it back into the budget for this, so there'll be an amendment in the future here.
Yeah.
So the majority of it, we do have cash for it.
Anna, where is that money? Just in the general fund right now?
It's sitting in a separate fund, ARPA fund.
Okay.
It's separate from the general fund.
Is that, I mean, it's scheduled to start this spring. Will it be finished in time for like concert series in the park and things like that this summer?
I don't know if it'll be quite that quick. That's a pretty drawn out project. It's a, everything is a separate brick, brick and mortar, construction and stuff. So they take a while. They take like
Until 2026,
probably fall time is when we'll sort of be looking at maybe.
2025?
Yeah.
fall?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have no other questions.
Okay,
So this will obligate the remaining ARPA funds, because we have to have that done by the end of this calendar year.
Right.
This will accomplish that.
I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we award the Bayview Restroom and Pavilion project to Meridian Contracting of Alpena for the base bid amount of $802,200.
Second.
Any discussion?
Councilmember King,
Aye.
Councilmember Mitchell,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Noah,
Aye.
Councilmember Walczak,
Aye.
and Mayor Johnson.
No, I'm all set.
Mrs. Mayor, I move that we adjourn the closed session to discuss water sewer litigation update.
Second.
Councilmember Mitchell,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Noah,
Aye.
Councilmember Walczak,
Aye.
Mayor Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember King.
Aye.
This conference will now be recorded.
All right.
Are we on?
You are on.
Oops, there's no further business before city council. A motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
I'll second.
Carol knows what I'm doing, doesn't